critical part of continuing to play music,
Beautiful sunny day today, and we can expect much more of the same over the next couple of days. You might want to do something with those outdoor activities that you've been saving up for.
The forecast, plenty of sunshine through today with seasonal temperatures. We should reach our normal high of about 82 degrees by this afternoon. Clear skies tonight with a low near 70. Increasing cloudiness tomorrow, sticky and humid with a high of 96. With the winds out of the east at 14 miles per hour, it's currently 75 degrees.
The kind of weather that makes you want to move somewhere warm. If you don't have to go out today, don't. The heat and humidity are at an all-time high, and it's particularly brutal on anyone with heart or respiratory.
Hello? Hello? What's going on here? What the hell is going on here? You people, you dragged me out of my house in handcuffs in front of my neighbors. Then you said you'd explain why when we get to the station. Well, here we are at the station, and we've been here at the station for 40 minutes now? Why in the hell am I here?
Have a seat, Mr. Arball, and we'll explain everything. Please. Joe?
Mr. Alborough, do you know Mr. Nathaniel Cush?
No.
Sure.
No. I mean, yeah, I'm sure.
Nick Cush was the regular mailman on your route.
Oh, you're talking about the guy that died.
How do you know he died?
Guy down the street told me. Alex Coomey. He lives down the street from me. He said the guy dropped dead of a heart attack not far from his house. Said the cops were there, ambulance. I mean, I guess they told him and he told me.
The cops told you Cush died of a heart attack.
No, I mean, I just assumed. I mean, the guy dropped dead out of the blue. I mean, what else could it have been?
Electrocution. High voltage electrocution.
Well, as interesting as all of this is, it's not my top concern right now. I want to know, why am I here? Why was I arrested?
Because you electrocuted.
What? That's
You electrocuted him
crazy.
and you killed him.
That is crazy. Why in the fuck would I kill the mailman?
Come on, man. You've been beefing with the guy since he got on your route 6 months ago. The post office has a file of complaints from you about him a mile long. What is it, about 21 complaints in 6 months?
What are you talking about? What file?
It's Nate Cush's file. It's customer complaint file. Full of complaints from you.
When a customer puts a complaint on the mailman, management puts the complaint on file.
Look, the guy was an incompetent mailman. Late with the mail,
Sir, there's no set time to
missed
deliver mail.
deliveries.
When you at the end of the day, you open your mailbox, the mail is there. That's it.
Looking through these complaints, I have to say a lot of this stuff is petty. I mean, in one instance, you blame the mailman for a wasp nest developing in your box. Another time, you complained that your mail was wet after he delivered in a rainstorm. And a few of these where you complained that your mail was late, it was the sender that sent the mail to you late. I mean, it seems like you had a hard-on for this guy.
So, because I complained about the guy, you're gonna blame me for his death? I guarantee you can line up 20 people from my street, and there's gonna be at least 10 people complaining about that guy. You gonna drag them in here too?
No.
And why not? If this whole thing is predicated on my complaints about the mailman.
Your address.
What? My address?
None of those people have your address.
See, Mr. Alborough, during Mr. Cush's autopsy, the coroner noticed that his right big toe was blown off, completely off. Similar to a high voltage electrical current exit wound is what he said. So that prompted him to examine his hands, which usually are an electrocution entry point. And that's when he found it.
Found what?
Your address, sir.
My address. Was on his hand?
Your address.
I don't know, maybe he had a package for me or something, and to remind him, he wrote my address on his hand.
It wasn't written on his hand, it was burned in, like a brand.
It's called a high voltage entry point. What happened was, on a daily basis, Cush, the mailman, would walk up to the box, open the lid, put the mail in the box, close the lid. Must have did it 1,000 times. I'm sure you saw him do it 1,000 times.
Well, technically, he couldn't have done it 1,000 times. He was on the route only for 6 months.
But this time, when he did it, when he lifted the lid, he was electrocuted.
According to the coroner's office, he died quickly.
Do you understand how
Death was
insane you people
instantaneous.
sound? Do you?
Your address, 1436, is on top of your mailbox in gold metallic letters. So when Cush placed his individual fingers on top of the individual numbers and was shocked, it burned the numbers into his fingers backwards. Like so. 1436, your address.
Before he was electrocuted, Mr. Cush had your mail in his hand and put in your mailbox. Once he touched that lid and was electrocuted, he dropped your mail as well as all the other mail he was carrying. But before dealing with that, you had to drag him inside before anybody saw him.
Have you been sampling confiscated hallucinogenics?
That's what you did.
I
You
did not
dragged him
do
inside
any of that stuff.
based on the scuff marks by
None
the door.
of it.
Have you ever delivered mail before, Mr. Alborough?
What?
He said, have you
No,
ever...
no.
Of course not. Because if you had, you wouldn't have made this next mistake.
Mistake number 3.
Was it 3? Or was it 4?
Whatever.
Anyway. Okay. In this hand we have what are called DPS, small things like letters and postcards. Here we have larger things, what are called flats, things like magazines and large envelopes.
After you dragged Cush inside, you went back out to grab the
Bullshit.
other mail. Then you placed all the other mail in order based on the numbers, 1438, 1440, 1442, and so forth and so on. Then you placed it back in Cush's bag.
All
Then you loaded his
bullshit.
body on your truck and then drove to the isolated area where he parks his truck. Then you dumped his body on the ground, thinking that people would just assume that he had a heart attack before starting his mail delivery.
Before we wrapped the crime scene, the local postmaster came out with another mail carrier to resume the route. The very first thing you noticed when they looked in the mailbag was that the DPS and the flats were together, and that the route didn't start to begin in the middle of 1438.
Which is directly after your house in a delivery order, which means you were the last person he delivered to.
But if he was just about to start his route, like you want everybody to think when you dumped his body by his truck, why would he start in the middle? Why would he start at 1438?
While you're asking all of these whys, ask yourself one more. Why would I kill him?
According to your neighbor, about 2 months ago, you took a 2-week vacation to see your brother in Florida. You had the post office hold your mail until you got back. You also placed one outgoing mail in the mailbox, a speeding ticket that had to be paid 5 days after you left.
Or else.
On your way back from your brother, you were pulled over for speeding again. And when the cop ran your name, there was a warrant for your arrest for failure to pay the previous ticket. You tried to argue the point that you paid it, but there was no indication of that, so you were arrested. When you finally got home, before you drove up the driveway, you saw it. The outgoing mail. Payment for the ticket still sitting in the box. Man, you must have been pissed. The mailman never picked it up. And because of it, you were arrested, Mr. Alborough. Funny thing is, it wasn't even his fault. Before you left town, you had the post office put your mail on hold for 2 weeks, so the mailman had no reason to go to your house.
But your box can't be seen from the street, so no one noticed your outgoing mail.
You blamed the wrong person for your misfortune, sir. The person you should have blamed is you.
When I get home. Nope.
So you're saying you don't want a lawyer?
Nope.
You sure?
If I ask for a lawyer, then we can't talk. If we can't talk, how will I know why I'm arrested?
The lawyer can just easily.
Detective, I'm an impatient man. Let's just get to it.
All right. Frank Graybill. You know Frank Graybill?
Don't know her, never met her.
Don't know her, never met her. No, that's what you said, right? Don't know. Get my pen. Write that down. Hate to misquote you on this. Don't know her, never met her. So you're really gonna make me work for my money, huh? All right. Frank Graybill was shot and killed in an apartment building on Stewart Avenue. Also shot was her sister Jane and her brother-in-law Curtis Pittman.
Kids.
Kids. What makes you say that, Reggie?
Because it's always kids. Just turn on the TV, read a newspaper, some young black 20-something robbing and killing to get money to produce CDs, thinking they're gonna become the next Jay-Z and Kanye. President was right. This fucking country's weak. Nobody wants to work for a living anymore.
Wow, I'm shocked. I'm shocked to hear you say those words. I mean, you're a pimp. I mean, isn't
Really?
that the pimp
Come
code?
on, man. What is this,
Never
1972?
work, have somebody
Pimp?
else work for you?
Where you get this information from? Fantasy Island?
Streets.
Who have you been talking to? Mr.
Streets.
Ward?
On
Or
the
that
streets,
little creepy
you're like
motherfucker
the
tattoo on
Elvis
Avenue or some
of
shit like
scumbags.
that?
You want to know where else I acquired the information? Your records. Your records full of facts, not fantasies. Facts. Facts like, I don't know what, drug possession, assault with a deadly weapon, sex trafficking again. You did these things.
Nah. Reggie Love, the man I am today, did not do those things.
Ha!
Reggie Banner, the knucklehead I used to be, did those things.
Come on, man. Look. Different names, same game. Now you're Reggie Love. You know? Pimp. Loveland. Isn't that what you call your little stable, Loveland?
No. That's what the streets call it. I took in a few battered women just out of the goodness of my heart.
Well, the goodness of your heart is
Look,
expensive.
man, I'm an impatient man, so let's get to it. What does some bitch getting ghosted in her apartment have to do with me?
How did you know it was her apartment?
Because you said it was her apartment.
No, I didn't say that. I said she was killed in an apartment on Stewart Avenue.
I just assumed it was hers.
Yeah. Just like you assumed Frank Graybill was a woman and not a man. It's a man's name. But when I asked if you knew Frank Graybill, you said, that's why I wrote it down. Don't know her, never met her. How do you know it was a woman? If I said 100 people that don't know Frank Graybill in that chair and I asked them if they know who Frank Graybill is, they're going to say, who's he? Or, no, I don't know him. How did you know Frank Graybill was a woman?
Have you ever heard of Frankie and Johnny?
Yeah, but Frankie is not Frank. Now I have my own theory as to how you knew Frank Graybill was a woman. Because you knew her. She was a prostitute, part of your Loveland stable. All right, man, look, you wanted me to get to it? All right, here it is. I think you killed her. And I can tell you why and how. She wanted out. She had enough of prostitution, you, Loveland, all of it. When she told her sister what was going on, she and her husband drove down from Atlanta to help her move in with them. Somehow, word got back to you that she was leaving. Probably one of the girls in your Loveland stable that she confided in. So you went to deal with her, right?
Nope.
You had to deal with her. You had to maintain respect, otherwise all the other girls in Loveland would think they could just leave whenever they wanted to. But when you got to the apartment, Frank, her sister, and her brother-in-law were already loading Frank's belongings onto a U-Haul. And when you tried to talk to her, she ignored you. Just walked right by and kept loading the truck. And then her sister confronted you, got in your face and told you to leave. And that's when you lost it. It's bad enough you got Frank being disobedient, now you got to deal with her sister too? Some stranger telling Reggie Love to step off? So you shot her. Then you shot her husband in the kitchen. So when Frankie saw her sister on the floor, she laid into you, scratched her face, and then you shot her. Bang, bang, bang. Then you leaned over and you told her, nobody leaves Reggie Love. Then you stuffed your gun in your waist and walked out. Now, this is the part where you ask, well, gee, Detective July, how could you possibly know what happened? And this is where I say, the victims told me. That's right. The victims told me. Frank's sister and her brother-in-law survived their wounds. Unfortunately, Frank did not. She bled out right there in the hallway. So I guess, in that regard, Reggie, you won. You showed all the other girls in Loveland what happens if they break your rules. But, in every other regard, you lost. One murder, one attempted murder of two respectable people just trying to help a loved one in need. Two witnesses left alive? You're not slithering your way out of this one, Reggie. Your life is over.
I'm not saying I did this, but hypothetically, if I did, is there any kind of deal you can make, a brother?
Nope.
Hey, Joe. It's Rip. It's me. Look, are you sure he gets off at 3:30? I'm at the house waiting now. It's 5:15.
Don't worry. He'll be there.
When? Are you even sure he's coming straight here? I mean, maybe he went and saw a movie or, I don't know, banged a blonde. Hell, he could be on a 2-hour run for all I know.
Listen to me. I don't care if he's on the first crew going to Mars. When he gets back from Mars, you'll be there to put a bullet in his fucking head. Got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
You ready?
Just waiting on you. Everything's up.
Cartoons? You couldn't find any real photos of these people?
Well, my granddaughter, Rihanna, the 5-year-old, she wanted to help her Papa George out with his police work, so since she likes to draw, I had to draw me some of the principles. And I told her I'd hang them up.
And for a 5-year-old, she was pretty precocious. She even added the bullet wounds to the head.
Those aren't bullet wounds. Just 5-year-old shit. Only she knows what that represents.
5-year-old shit. Yeah, I can buy that. Because I'm pretty sure that's a rat. You know, you could have just told her you used the drawings.
Yeah, I could have. But Papa George doesn't lie to his grandkids. You ready?
Yep.
Okay, well, here we have our 2 murdered victims, Trent Kosey and Denny Miller. Classmates at R.J. Newman High School and recently formed couple. Both shot and killed with what appeared to be a golden gun after just pulling up to a pump at a Chesterfield gas station on Reeves Boulevard. According to their family and friends, they were on their way to their homecoming high school football game. You look at the gas station surveillance footage.
Yeah, and you're right, definitely wasn't a botched robbery. I mean, the guy just walked straight up to the car and started shooting inside. It was personal.
And that's why 2 suspects come in. Before hooking up with Denny Miller, Trent Kosey was in a relationship with Justin Jerome.
Okay, seeing how Justin's one of the top suspects, I'm going to take a guess here and say that Trent broke up with Justin.
Yep.
And Justin didn't take it so well?
According to witnesses, he made a scene in the school cafeteria, confronted Trent.
He dumped him in a crowded cafeteria. No wonder he was
No,
pissed.
he broke up with him the night before. The next morning, Justin took it to the cafeteria. And for his final act, he flipped over a table and punched a hole in the cafeteria wall. Trent was sitting with Denny at the time.
I think we have a winner.
Not so fast, Sherlock. We still have another suspect to examine. Duncan Parrish, former boyfriend of Denny Miller. And yes, Miller broke up with Duncan.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not sold on it. Unless this guy Duncan stood atop the cafeteria table and yelled out, "I'm gonna kill you two." My money's still
Nah,
on
I
Justin.
mean, it's nothing that extreme. I mean, his friend said he complained about being a sucker for Denny, doing his homework and giving him his allowance money and stuff like that. I know it's not as grandiose as punching a hole in the cafeteria wall, but sometimes it's the quietest dynamite that does the most damage.
Sounds to me like you like Duncan for this.
Well, as it stands now, it could be either one of them.
Okay, the murders took place moments before the start of the homecoming football game. Did any of the 2 suspects go to the game?
According to them and some witnesses, they both did. But that's no alibi, because the murders took place before the game.
Now I was thinking more of their behavior at the game. Were they nervous, pacing up and down, or were they pensive, detached from the game?
Well, Duncan posted a live video of himself at the game. He was jovial, seemed to be having fun. Too much fun if you ask me.
That's probably his way of saying to Denny, you see, I'm not at home crying in my beer. I'm getting along fine without you.
Or his way of saying, hey, look, detectives, I'm having fun at a football game. Is this the behavior of someone who just committed a double murder?
So you do like Duncan for this. What about Justin? What was his behavior at the game?
Sat in the top row of the stadium, all by himself. Like a kid that was just dumped by his boyfriend?
Like a kid who just killed 2 people. Did any of the suspects ever mention having a golden gun or their parents having a golden gun?
As far as any of the people we talked to, none of them were aware of any of the suspects owning any gun. And as far as the parents, we haven't talked to them yet. Well, when it's all said and done, since the suspects are too young to purchase a gun legally, it's going to boil down to the suspect having stolen his dad's weapon. And that suspect being Duncan Parrish, of course.
We're gonna stick with that? Duncan Parrish. I don't see it. I don't get it. I mean, I don't see what you see that trumps Justin punching a hole in the cafeteria wall. I mean, that. Oh, all right, what's your case? What's your case? Let me hear.
Okay. Out of the blue, Duncan's lover dumps him for another guy. He's upset. Can't believe how much money and time he wasted on this relationship. So the night of the big game, he steals the household gun, shoots Denny and his new lover. Then he goes to the big game and records himself having a good time to match what he did.
Interesting. Fictional, but interesting.
Okay, funny man. What's your take on it?
All right, here it is. Justin Jerome was in a relationship with Trent Colsey. Justin was in love, Trent was not, so he dumped Justin, who got so upset he punched a hole in the cafeteria wall. But that wasn't good enough, so he got a gun. From where? I don't know, but he got a gun and shot and killed Trent Colsey and Denny Miller. Then he went to the homecoming football game as some sort of post-alibi.
Yeah.
Hey, Rob. Sorry to interrupt, but you gotta hear this. Some kid named Lawrence Trigg just walked in with his family and a lawyer, claiming he killed your 2 victims. Cartoons. Couldn't find any real photos of these people?
Whoa. What are you talking about? Some kid shot the victims.
Yeah, his brother saw the gas station surveillance footage on the news. He recognized his brother and his father's customized golden gun. So he called their parents, who were then in turn made him turn himself in.
Wow.
Are they up front now?
Yeah.
So, what exactly was this about? I mean, the kid even saved
The
one
kid
child?
saw the 2 victims in a car kissing at a red light. He says he hates gays. So he followed them to the gas station and shot them.
Gotcha. I hate crime.
Yeah, I hate crime.
Well, let's go head up there.
Hate crime. That's funny. You know, I liked Out There is a lot better. At least they were about love.
You know, Mr. Keith, you don't have to look so nervous. We already told you the DA's not going to press any charges, so.
Yeah, man. We already saw the mall surveillance footage. It was more than justified.
Yeah, so.
You good?
Nah, it ain't that, man. I stand by what I did. I just kind of wish I hadn't done it.
Nah, man, don't lose any sleep over what you did to those two guys. I work gang division, so trust me, those guys weren't making balloon animals for cancer kids in their spare time. I know of at least 3 shooting cases where they were implicated as suspects.
Yeah, I get they were bad guys. But I ain't go to the mall to hurt anybody. You have to understand, I was just trying to buy a helmet cam.
Helmet cam? But you're a thrasher?
Nah, I'm a runner. Running the New York Marathon in 3 weeks, and I want the videotape of what I'm running.
A marathon? Shit, I'm impressed. You really have to bring the wood for that one.
So listen, Mr. Keith, the mall surveillance pretty much told the story of what happened. But we'd like to hear what you were thinking. What were your thoughts right before the incident? What were you doing?
What was I doing before being scared shitless, looking for a foxhole to run into? I don't know. I was talking to my brother on the phone. We were laughing about something stupid. But I can't remember what. Does that usually happen in situations like this?
Sometimes, yeah. In really traumatic events like this one, people focus so much on the traumatic details that they block out the little things, sometimes permanently.
And sometimes temporarily. It's called disassociative amnesia. I mean, 3 weeks from now, you could be running that marathon, get to mile 17, and whatever you and your brother was laughing about can just pop back into your head just like that.
Go on. You were talking to your brother?
Yeah, I was talking to my brother, and then out of nowhere, this young black guy just runs by, hauling ass. And he's looking back like somebody's chasing after him. Then he starts zigzagging through all these parked cars in a cross position. And as I'm watching him, even at that distance, I can tell he's holding a gun. And as soon as I noticed the gun, I noticed 2 other young black guys walking from the same direction the first guy came from. And they're carrying AK-47s. AK-47s! And they're not even trying to conceal them. They're just walking around holding them up like that's a normal thing to be doing on a Saturday evening. Anyways, I was so focused on them, I forgot about the first guy, the one with the handgun. Until they took off running, and all hell broke loose, and then they opened fire. They were shooting cars, light poles, shopping carts, hitting everything but the guy. Then one after another started hearing screams. People screaming, panicking, running. Screaming, panicking, running. Then I saw a little girl standing over her father lying in a pool of his own blood.
How do you know it was a father?
Because she was yelling, "Daddy, get up! Daddy, get up! Daddy, Daddy!" Which I know they must have heard her, because I know damn well they saw her. So why in the hell would they keep shooting?
Because they're cretins. They don't give a damn about anybody or anything other than what they're into. To them, no lives matter.
Well, it mattered to me. When I saw those innocent people just out there trying to enjoy their day, getting mowed down like they were part of a video game, and I saw those 2 guys standing beside that car firing those AKs like they were sitting on a couch in a man cave playing Call of Duty, I had to stop them. And when I saw those guys perfectly lined up on the side of that car, it was now or never. I put the car in drive, and I made sure I didn't change my mind. Looked over at the little girl kneeling in her father's blood. I punched it. I smashed it with my car.
What you did was beyond justified.
Exactly.
Those guys
they
were
shot
out of control.
everybody but the guy they were shooting at.
Yeah, and they probably would have reloaded. They had extra mags. You know, you probably saved a lot of people doing what you did.
After an hour or so at the scene, one of the shooter's mothers showed up. I guess somebody told her that her son was killed. She shows up screaming and crying, "My baby, my baby. Somebody's killed my baby." Yo, baby? Where the hell were you when your baby was shooting up the place like freaking Benghazi? Did you not know your baby had an AK-47 in his possession in your room, in your house?
Mr. Keith, relax. Don't get yourself all worked up over those guys. Like we said earlier, you were justified. You did exactly what either one of us would have done. If we weren't cops with guns, we'd have rammed our car into those two guys too.
Well, I probably wouldn't have imprudently crashed my car, because I drive a Jag. But I would have came up with something.
Well, after I crashed into those two guys, I sat back and stared at them for a few minutes. They looked like... So what now?
Well, unless Detective Stagger has something else he wants to add. Well, and what now is, you get to go home. I just want to thank you for taking the time with us. We really appreciate it.
Sure, whatever you need, man.
Same here.
No problem. Listen, did you guys ever catch the other guy? The one other two guys were shooting at?
Not yet. Probably slithered under some unsuspecting aunt or grandmother. Hiding out.
This can happen again. Another mob. Other people hurt.
Right.
Attention Echo Unit, this is Bravo Unit. Attention Echo Unit, this is Bravo Unit. Stand down. Repeat, stand down. The suspect was apprehended at Wicker's Liquor Store and is in custody. The suspect was apprehended at Wicker's Liquor Store and is in custody. We will be returning to the house shortly. Echo Unit, acknowledge.
Echo 1 acknowledge. Echo 2 acknowledge. Echo 3 acknowledge.
Women often perish whenever I'm around, and though you'll never catch me, among them I am found. Women often perish whenever I'm around, and though you'll never catch me, among them I am found.
Hey, Drew, do me a favor. Put that in the lost and found. That puppeteer who was out in front of the building earlier, he left it behind.
Puppeteer leaving his puppet behind? That's like a cop leaving his gun behind.
You still working that poem thing?
Yep. And I can use an extra brain.
Yeah, I've been saying that for years.
Yeah, I was talking about your brain, Jack.
Nah, I got that court thing.
Oh yeah, that's right. All right then. Yeah, I'll take care of the puppet.
All right, later.
Yeah, later.
Women often perish whenever I'm around, and though you'll never catch me, among them I am found. What's this, bud? You writing a demented poem to your sweetheart?
No, it's a poem left by a deranged serial killer at a murder scene, meant to torment detectives.
Why?
Well, that's for a psychiatrist to figure out. My job is to figure out the hidden message in this poem. Women often perish whenever I'm around. Now, I take that to mean that women die whenever this guy is in the area. And they die because he kills them. And he's boasting about it.
Yeah, that's what I get out of it too. That was the easy part. But this next part is the real conundrum. And though you'll never catch me, among them I am found.
Yeah, he's saying we'll never catch him because he's too clever, too smart. He's hitting on the word me. And although you'll never catch me, as opposed to something else.
The next line, he hits on the word them. Among them I am found.
Yeah, but what them?
Well, he starts off saying women often perish. Maybe the them is women.
It's pretty obvious he's talking about the woman that he's killed. What I'm more interested in is what he meant by the phrase, among them I am found. Among them. Among them I am found. Among them.
He could mean his DNA. He left his DNA among them.
Nah. Now, there was no DNA found in or on any of the bodies, nor anywhere else at the crime scenes for that matter.
Maybe he means he's among the area of the murders. He lives there. You know, his, whatchamacallit, his comfort zone.
Nah, it sounds like he's saying he's among them personally. Like he's mixed in. I don't know.
Well, he's not mixed with them physically. That's impossible. We're talking about 7 different women killed separately at 7 different locations.
Yeah, but they are linked together. There are 7 different women who were all killed by the same person. They have that kinship. When you mention one of their names, you have to mention the others. And if we knew who he was, his name would be linked with. His name. 7 murdered victims. Tori Michaels, Connie Ash, Chrissy Zander, Josephine Kent, Marie Ingalls, Brianna North, Trisha Gale.
So, you see anything yet?
Hey, give it a minute. Name's not gonna just jump off the page. We're gonna have to. I see it. Max King.
Yeah. Max King.
Got it. You were right. There is a Max King in the system.
It's gonna be him.
Maximilian King.
Reaper. Detective Acolo on the job. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm always on the job.
All right, what did this guy do?
Sexual assault, window peeping, but he was released recently.
When?
2 weeks before the first victim, Tori Michaels, were killed.
What's his address?
2217 Angus.
Right in the middle of the murders. His comfort zone.
What's with the red puppet?
Don't. Forgot I was wearing it.
Why were you wearing it?
All right, come on, let's go. We gotta show Mr. Maximilian King why it's not a good idea to toy with the.
First, tell me why were you wearing it?
Let's go pick up Mr. King. We gotta get him.
cerrados para que rebajan el consumo de energía en los edificios gobiernos. Antes, la crisis que le afecta al Estado.
Yeah, Olivia. Hey, it's Jen. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to make it tonight. Yeah, I'm just not feeling well. Yeah, I'll keep you posted. Alright, thanks.
Cold case. Many have looked at it. Some have studied it. Some merely glanced at it. In the end, all have met with the same results. It's still cold. The only difference today is it's in front of me now. When I hear people say cold case, I can hear the failure in their voices. I hear the disappointment. They feel as though they failed those attached to the case. The victims, the parents of the victims, the children of those victims, the siblings, relatives and friends, all left with a cold, empty feeling. I was asked to briefly look over a murder spree that went on for 7 years and has been cold for 8 years. And I told him I can't do that. 2003 to 2010, community in fear, and for the most part held hostage because one of its residents wasn't what he appeared to be. You want me to glance at something of this magnitude. Not only no, but hell no. If you want me to look at it, I need to really look at it. Because even if I don't speak to the family or friends of the victims, I will still feel like I let them down. Starting off right away, some things just didn't seem right. Victims 1 through 4, all investigated by Detective Mike Always. First victim found in October of 2003, a Caucasian female brunette, 23-year-old Samantha Hodges, found bound, strangled, and beaten to death in a wooded area near Mount Sherman Park. She was found by a homeless man, Manny Perez, who was out fishing. Perez discovered her nude body in the woods near the end of the fishing pier. She had also been raped. Her last known location was a biker bar about 2 miles down from the park. She left there on foot about 2 a.m. with Todd Graves, who was arrested that same morning for public drunkenness on Kaiser Place, about a block from the bar. Hodges was not charged with anything and was released and left her on foot in the direction of the park. It was the last time she was seen alive. The next victim with similar physical features was a Caucasian female brunette, Jenny Dunlop. She was also killed and raped in the same manner. Distinct similarities in the way she was bound. Her body was found about 2 months later by highway groundskeeper Pauletti Davis, who was cutting the grass when he stumbled upon her nude body covered in blood. She was found less than a mile away from where Hodges' body was found. The department wasn't quick to say we had a serial killer loose yet, and it would be 5 months before the next victim was found.
Greene County Sheriff's Office.
Hello, this is Detective George Rook of the Mount Sherman Police Department. I'm looking for a detective who worked here a few years ago, a Detective Mike Always. Hello, sir. If you don't mind, I have some questions about a few cases you handled from 2003 to 2004. Samantha Hodges, Jenny Dunlop, and 2 other cases. I'm looking over these cases now. And I just have a few questions if you have a minute.
Man, those particular cases have been cold for 10 years.
8 years, sir. 8 years.
Well, anything I can help you with, I'll be more than willing to assist you.
Yes, sir. I see that you worked on the first 4 murders from 2003 to 2004. You had 4 witnesses and you had information on all the witnesses except one, Mr. Perez. He's the individual who found Miss Samantha Hodges' body. His information stopped, and after the first year, there was no contact.
Well, Mr. Manuel Perez was a homeless illegal alien who we were told had terminal cancer. He had been sleeping under the bridge and close to death the few times we made contact with him. He was so bad off that later, when we couldn't reach him after extensive attempts, we figured he had passed and there was no way to verify it. He did have a few contacts at the shelter, but they hadn't heard from him either. And for a few months, I was off the case. I turned it all over to Detective Alan Sproles, who worked on the case for a few months. And in his notes, he said he did manage to do a follow-up with Perez. But unfortunately, Detective Sproles died of a massive heart attack while working the case. He was a sharp guy. It's a shame he couldn't have looked at this thing more.
Now, see, that's the problem I have. Detective Sproles had a checklist for everything he completed in the few months that he worked. Detective Sproles died on December 18th of 2004, but it seems he conducted his interview with Perez on December 20th of 2004, 2 days after he died. Now, how is that possible? And get this, he initialed it as well. You took over the case in January of 2005.
Look, Detective, I'm sure it was a typo. Detective Sproles was a sharp detective. I don't want to see his reputation besmirched. There were some really seasoned veteran detectives who worked at this case, and
yeah, there's a team of seasoned veteran detectives working on this case right now.
what it is you think you are going to find.
I don't know, a murderer maybe? Look, sir, this case, this is not about you, me, Detective Sproles, or any other investigator. It's about trying to get to the bottom of this thing and making sure that the evidence makes sense. It's about trying to solve a murder.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Detective. What's your other question?
Yes, there's one witness, and in my opinion, a suspect in the murder of the 4th victim, Lewis Parker. The guy's name was Frederick Greene. Greene had been arrested on multiple assaults on women, including one near-deadly attack on a woman near the murder site. But yet when he found Lewis Parker's body, he wasn't listed as a suspect. At this point, the murder should have been listed as the work of a serial killer. But it wasn't. And there was no mention of Green's other offenses to the public. There were no other suspects.
Right, however, Green had information on the guy that the feds had been trying to take down for years, as slimy as that bastard was. His alibi did check out.
Or we were led to believe his story checked out.
Whatever the case, we were not allowed to touch this guy in any way. We were not allowed to list any of his info to the officers, detectives on the case, nor were we able to leak any of his info at all to the public. Only that he found the fourth victim. That was why I wanted off the case. We had to keep a separate file on this guy. I'll email that file to you through a secure line. Anything else, sir?
Thank you, Detective. If I need anything else, I'll give you a call. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, Jew, you have a minute?
Yeah, I'll be there in a second.
Okay.
Working it, huh? What you got?
I need you to look at a couple of people from this cold case that I'm working. First one's going to be Frederick Green. Feds had a private file on this guy back in '04, so we couldn't get much on him. So I want to know his every move from '04 to now.
Okay. What else you got?
The other one might be a shot in the dark. This guy right here, Manny Perez. He's a guy who found the first victim in '03, Samantha Hodges. The guy had terminal cancer, so shot in the dark. They said, he disappeared, didn't have much on him since '04, so it's like he fell off the earth.
Yeah, I got you.
Just see what you can dig up on him.
All right. Got it.
The next 4 murders spanned a total of 30 miles through Grella, Louisiana. I spoke to Detective Crawford, who worked the case from 2005 to 2007. The next 3 murders were about 30 miles further in Lula, Louisiana, where I spoke to Captain Marty Nichols, who worked on 3 murders from 2008 to 2009. Then in the last month of 2010, we had 1 murder in each month. Detective Horace Lemon sent me all the files on that one. This took place an additional 24 miles north of Sebring, Louisiana. Then from 2011 to present, the killing stopped. The case went cold. Hand to God, I was glad it stopped. Not another murder. Not one additional case that would even closely resemble the killer's behavior. You wonder what happened, and you hope that the killer died, and that would explain why the killer just stopped. But you know that's not the case. Detective Alls was right. A lot of seasoned veteran detectives had looked over this cold case. They had laid all the groundwork and put in many hours. I commend them. I knew going in that maybe I would have to think a little different and do something that the other detectives didn't do. The case went cold in our area from 2011 to the present. I searched for miles, but the only possible cold case murders matching the MO of the serial killer took place outside of our vicinity, almost out of the state. They continued from 2011 to the present. It was a long shot, but what else did I have? So I spoke to the lead investigator in Bastrop, Louisiana, 206 miles away. They had 2 murders in 2011, 2 murders in 2012, 2 in 2013, and 3 in 2014. Shreveport, Louisiana, 298 miles away, had 2 murders in 2015 and 2016, and 3 murders in 2017. A week ago, I requested copies of the files. I laid out each case, all the victims, suspects, and witnesses. One of the cases in Bastrop, Louisiana in 2013, there was a witness who found the body of a brunette woman who was bound and strangled. Others had saw the body but didn't report it because they didn't think it was real. The final murder occurred in Shreveport, Louisiana on June 1st of 2017. A brunette, Lisa Bridges, bound, beaten, and strangled. The guy who found the body was a homeless illegal alien with terminal cancer. Imagine that, 14 years later, another homeless illegal alien with terminal cancer who just happens to stumble upon a murdered victim in the state of Louisiana. Now, what are the odds of that? Unfortunately, there was no picture or anything of the guy in the file, but I know they gotta have something.
Shreveport Police, Detective Morales.
Detective Morales, this is Detective Rook from the Mount Sherman Police Department. Sorry to contact you guys so late, but I have a few questions for you.
How can I help you, Detective?
Yes, sir. I'm working on a cold case from Mount Sherman, Louisiana from 2003 to 2010. We had a few similarities in the murders that took place here and the ones you had in 3 murders from 2015 to 2017. I had Detective Aaron Campbell send me the files on those murders.
Yes, I worked with Detective Campbell on the case, and also I helped to gather most of the info that we sent to you.
Yeah, thank you for that, Detective. The last murder of Miss Lisa Bridges, the witness who found Miss Bridges, did you by any chance have a photo, any photo of this guy?
That would be of Mr. Benny Jimenez.
Can you email me a photo of this guy if you have?
Yeah, we do have a couple of photos of him. Man, that guy appeared to be really bad off. He seemed like he was going to die while we were interviewing him. We lost contact with him in August of 2017. I think the guy may have died. That picture should be on its way to you momentarily. Anything else I can help you with, Detective?
No, sir. Thank you and your department for all of your help.
Okay. I have my own personal notes from the case. If you need that, I can send you that as well.
Gotcha. They said there's no room for luck in homicide detective work, just hard-nosed detective work. But I don't believe that. I think that sometimes there is luck, but sometimes it may be on the side of the suspect. But every now and then, there is luck on the side of the investigators. Yeah.
Hey, look, it's me, Joe. You want to know about those two guys, Green and Perez?
Yeah.
You want to know about Frederick Green's every move? Well, he didn't move much after 2011. He was stabbed to death by his girlfriend. She said it was self-defense, and of course agreed with her, so that's that. And the other guy, Perez, check this out. In 2017, he just resurfaced and is living right outside of Mount Sherman.
Let me guess. It was after June of 2017.
Yeah, as a matter of fact. And he looks to be well and living on the west end of Topaz Drive. What do you want us to do?
Let's go do what they pay us to do. Pick him up.
Hey, relax, man. It's supposed to be like you lose with the crowd, but you I've got nothing on there, but I've got some things to do, and I'm always pushing you know, but I can know it's a very easy question. So look, I'm trying to make up a bit of time here, mate. So let me grab a shower first, and when I'm done, while I'm getting dressed, I'll walk you through it. And like I said, man, it's pretty simple. 3 minutes tops, all right? No problem, man. We'll do that. All right, I'll call you back. All right.
The reason you're here, your name's come up in investigation as a prime suspect on a case we're working on.
Case? What kind of case?
Murder.
Murder? I don't hear you laughing. This is a joke, right?
No, ma'am. This is no joke. You shot him and you killed him.
That's That's crazy. Killed who?
Mark Lacotti, the department manager at the Optimum Buy on Reed Boulevard.
I don't know Mark
Lacotti,
Where am I supposed to have killed him?
Optimum Buy on Reed Boulevard.
That's insane. Where are you getting your information? Where are you getting all of this?
Our eyewitness has identified the shooter as Marcy Dunlop. That's you.
Did this witness also say that I'm totally blind? Because I am, you know.
Yeah, I see the cane, but no, he didn't mention that.
How long have you been blind, Miss Dunlop?
2 months. 2 months of total darkness. Too blind to walk into Optimum Buy. Too blind to shoot anybody. Definitely too blind to drive a getaway car.
It's interesting because according to our witness, you're perfectly capable of doing all three.
But how? I'm blind. And why? Why would I kill this guy?
Because you were having an affair with him. You were having an affair and you wanted him to leave his wife and he said that he would. Then you found out for the 10-year anniversary they were going on a cruise to Belize for 2 weeks.
That really mowed your lawn, didn't it? That's when you knew he was never going to leave his wife. He was just stringing your ass along.
Where are you getting all this erroneous conjecture?
Erroneous conjecture? Very well put. I like that.
Mark Lacotti confided in a coworker friend about your affair and that you were starting to get a little clingy.
I think the exact word he used was pesky. And why are you doing the air quotes? She's blind, right?
The friend said that, and this is a direct quote too. If he had known you were going to be this crazy, he never would have poked you.
Which I found interesting because I don't think I've heard that particular terminology since the 60s.
And who is this friend?
Curtis Mendez. He works in the car audio department.
I've never heard of him or this other guy, Mark. How did I get dragged into this?
Because Curtis Mendez saw you one day sitting in your car waiting for Mark to go to lunch with you.
Yeah. The two of them were joking about how pathetic and delusional you were, thinking that you were ever going to be anything more to him than just this little piece on the side.
He said in spite of the woman wearing dark glasses, a red wig, and a hoodie, when she walked in and shot Mark point blank 6 times, he could tell it was you, Marcy Dunlop. And after seeing Optimum Buy surveillance footage of the crime, I'm inclined to agree.
Are you stupid? Are you idiots? What part of I'm blind don't you understand?
Here's what we think happened. When you learned that Mark was going on that cruise with his wife, you realized he wasn't going to leave her.
Yeah, he was just playing. I mean, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free, right? You snapped.
And 2 months ago, you made up your mind to contrive this whole blind woman thing.
I didn't
So you
contrive
found
anything.
the doctor and
I'm
convinced him, and
blind.
you got it all on file.
Who would suspect a blind woman? Great plan.
I'm blind.
It's a classic case of, if I can't have him, nobody can.
I'm blind!
Gotcha.
How'd you know?
Well, aside from a motive, a witness, and the store surveillance footage, your wristwatch.
Your watch. It's not braille.
Man, where y'all at, bruh? On y'all way? Be here already, bruh.
Chill out, bro. We're 30 minutes away.
30. Bruh. If y'all ain't here in 10, I'm gonna go smoke them fools myself. Believe that.
Yo, fam, why you tripping? I told you we're 30.
Why did you murder your wife of 8 years, Mr. Douglas? Why did you kill the mother of your son?
Was she unfaithful? Did she spend too much money? Did she put you both in deep debt?
Did she wreck your car?
Drop your Xbox?
Or did you just wake up this morning and say, hey, you know what? Today, I'm going to kill my wife of 8 years. I'm going
Why
to murder
did you
the
murder
mother of
your
my
wife,
son?
Mr. Douglas?
Because she was a superstitious idiot. That's why I killed her.
Superstitious? In what way?
In every way, man. Rabbit's foot on the keychain. Horseshoe over the doorway. Don't walk under a ladder. All of it. There was even one about pissing in the dark or not pissing in the dark. I don't know.
So, how long did you know about it?
Since we first met.
Why did you stay with her?
Because she was fine. You know a brother will tolerate anything if a woman is fine. Anyway, we went on our first date. And we were at a restaurant. I accidentally spilled the salt. And she wouldn't leave the restaurant until I threw a pinch of salt over my left shoulder.
Common superstition. I mean, the idea is you're supposed to be throwing salt into the eyes of the devil who lurks behind you.
Okay. So, check this out. One day she had the car, and she was coming back from the store. A black cat crossed her path. She drove 5 miles in the opposite direction so she wouldn't cross the cat's path. You got a reason for that too?
I don't. He's the nerd.
Well, actually, I do. Cats were said to be demons in disguise sent by the devil to cut off a person's path to heaven.
That sounds more like good luck. If the cat is stopping you from going to heaven, then maybe stopping you from dying in a car accident.
Look, Mr. Douglas, all this talk about demons and witchcraft is educational, but it doesn't explain why you killed your wife.
Before I met my wife, I used to bowl. We called our team the Menacing Owls. We won the title 2 years straight, no losses. Every now and then I would wear my Owls jersey. I wore it to the casino in Mississippi and won $1,800. I won $400 at the racetrack 2 weeks in a row. I won $500 at the bingo hall playing speed bingo. I won $1,500 in a Super Bowl pool, all while wearing that owl shirt. Then I met Julia. We got married and I retired the jersey. I packed it when we moved into our new house. I was gonna take it out of retirement and wear it tonight to play poker with some of the guys from work. But when I looked for it, it was gone. Then I asked Julia about it. She said she threw it out because it had an owl on it. And owls are bad luck. My shirt that brought me money whenever I needed it. And she just tossed it.
She tossed it and you lost it.
Superstitious idiot.
Superstitious. Mr. Douglas,
You murdered your wife of 8 years, killed the mother of your son because she tossed out your favorite shirt?
who's the superstitious idiot?